what we're looking forward to, and that's what will eventually dry us out. But it's going to take some time for that to happen.
That seems to be the theme.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's some of the latest information for the 10 a.m. advisory. That's what gave us the upgrade to a hurricane just before it made landfall. And you could see on the satellite imagery there in that box that it was showing some bright whites and some pinks, and that's indicating very strong thunderstorms. Now that it's interacted with land, it's already starting to lose that punch. But of course, tropical systems have a lot of moisture to work with, and we're going to see a lot of rain. So, hurricane, Category 1 hurricane making landfall in Louisiana in July. It's kind of rare. In fact, that's the first Category 1 storm or first hurricane to make landfall in Louisiana in July since 2005. And that was Cindy that year as a Category 1 system as well. And there's the historical track of it. Made landfall and then quickly weakened into a tropical storm as it moved over coastal areas of Mississippi. Here's how it looks right now. We're still going off those 10 a.m. numbers. Northwest winds or northwest movement at 6 miles per hour with 75-mile-an-hour winds. Just barely a hurricane. You need 74-mile-an-hour winds or more. So we have 1 mile an hour on that, and that forward movement is just very, very slow, painfully slow, because look at all the moisture that's getting pulled up over the Gulf of Mexico and now moving over land and raining itself out. And this is going to last for quite a while longer, because look at this track. It's not covering a whole lot of real estate in the next 36 hours, only making it up by tomorrow morning as a 45-mile-an-hour storm just north of Alexandria. So staying in the state for the next 12 to 36 hours or so, and then picking up that speed a little bit more as it gets drawn farther to the north and eventually rapidly decaying too. We've had the winds. We've been dealing with those for the last couple of days. We've had some higher gusts, especially in coastal locations up and over hurricane force. Why are they stronger along the coastline? Well, you have those winds coming out of the south. When they hit land, friction slows down the wind. So they're still strong, but they're not as strong as they would be immediately after they're encountering the ocean. The ocean's a little bit smoother, not as much friction to slow down the air, so it's faster along the immediate coastline. Here's all of that rain. A lot of bright colors here showing the yellows, the oranges. Heavy rain, sustained rain moving over the same areas, which is why the flood risk is so high, and water will be the headline. Switching up the imagery here on satellite, we have a satellite called GOES, and it's high resolution satellite all way up in space, and this is showing the storm here as it looks illuminated by the sun well aloft in the atmosphere. But you can certainly pick out the spin of the atmosphere here, the center of Barry that's now over land, and it's arguably has the best presentation on satellite that it's had throughout its entire lifetime. It just took a while for that to occur. And just imagine if this storm was 100, 200 miles farther to the south at this stage in its life, seeing this kind of development, it would have probably become a much stronger storm, but thankfully that is not likely going to be the case. Still dealing with a lot of that rain. Here's a loop over the last 6 hours, that duration of time, because you can really see it starting to fill on in. I mean, areas off to the east here have just been crushed all morning long. This band has not moved. In Biloxi over towards Dauphin Island, Mobile, Alabama, just getting socked with very heavy rain, but it is kind of filling in back off towards the west, and certainly out over Louisiana and southern parts of the state seeing that rain too. And look what's lurking to the south. All of this heavy rain has to pivot on through and move towards the north. So we have a lot more rain to go here. In fact, several more hours. We could see it raining heavily here right through to the day tomorrow. Here's a closer look at Gulfport area, Biloxi, and then moving towards Bay St. Louis. A little bit lighter rain there right now, but it's likely going to pick up in that intensity as you move towards Covington, Folsom, Mandeville. Seeing that heavier downpour there. This is actually getting a little bit larger as it pushes to the north. We slide into downtown New Orleans, seeing the heavier rain band now letting up for just a little while, but down to the south there is much more to come on through, and we'll pivot on through in the coming hours here. Out towards Homa, seeing more of the same, the yellows indicating the heavy tropical downpours that's going to be with us for a while. Here's another switch up of the satellite. We've talked about this all morning long, and this is infrared, and this tells us the temperature of the clouds. Why we care about that is because the brighter the colors, the whites, the pinks that were on earlier in the map, indicate colder clouds, meaning healthier thunderstorms. But notice in the last couple frames here, well, at least actually right here, a little flare up of some more stronger storms just to the south. But all of this is located to the south of the center of Barry. That's not a good sign if you want a very strong or very organized system. So that's been working against Barry for a while, because we've had a lot of wind shear that's been moving it off to the south. We're going to talk more about that coming up in just a bit.